What can we learn with regards to Satan as it pertains to Job and Revelation 12? And the starting point of this is Job. And in Job 1, of course, we all know the story. Now, again, it's interesting because it's a day that all the angels appear before the Creator. And when that happens, he sees Satan is among them. Verse 6, one day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. So it appears to me like that's one of the three festival days. Again, if we're doing it on earth, it'd be up in heaven as well. And so the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" And of course, going throughout the earth, traveling to and fro. And then, of course, have you seen my servant Job? And the answer is, does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him and his household? My translation here says everything he has, but it's actually and his possessions. You've blessed the work of his hands so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. And let's stop this for a second before we go to the next thought. So, in the time of the tribulation and Jacob's trouble, he lifted that hedge. The Creator lifted that hedge for Job. Is he going to do the same for us? That's a good question. We don't know. But we certainly know we have a hedge. And so those of us who are in faith, we have a hedge not just around us, but our household and our possessions. And we are protected unless the Creator allows that protection to subside. To see basically, are we going to change who and what we are? And knowing our Creator, I wouldn't doubt that. So, now, here's where it gets interesting. But now stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. Now, this is Satan saying this to the Creator. He's saying, why don't you curse Job? And the answer is, I'll put it in your power. Verse 12, the Lord said to Satan, very well then, everything he has is in your power, but on the man himself do not lay a finger. And then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. So the issues of how these things happened, that is a power that Satan has. Now again, we're talking about an entity that dwarfs us drastically in power. Obviously doesn't dwarf the Creator or the Messiah, but to us, we're like an ant. I think of the report of the spies. Oh, he's greater, they're greater than us. We're grasshoppers to them. Which would be very similar to what it is, but it doesn't matter, We can't win anything. It's the Creator of the Messiah. And then the next issue comes the exact same thing in Job 2. And this is where, again, he comes back and goes, in verse 4, skin for skin, Satan replied. A man will give all he has for his own life. Now stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, very well then, he's in your hands, but you must spare his life. And then he puts the boils and everything else on him, and sores. Who did that? Who had the ability to put it on? In other words, Satan has that ability at all times, except for those who are protected. Now, let's go to Revelation 12. And when Satan is thrown down, and starting in verse 9, the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan. So we know exactly who we're dealing with, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. So, multitude. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. I think we can see where that one's coming from. But again, it could happen during the time of Jacob's trouble as well. Therefore you rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and to the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury because he knows that his time is short. There are a couple things in there. One, who has the hedge of protection around them? And I would say just those who are in faith. And they have it over both them, their household, and their possessions. But Satan is furious. And he's on earth, assuming we're in the time of Jacob's trouble, he's on earth and he is furious. He's going around to see what all damage he can do. And, you know, if you are not in faith, I think he's got tremendous power to deal with whatever. And the interesting thing here, and again, as I said, the Creator may very well remove that hedge for some of us. And he says, you know, don't even shrink even from death. So he may even, for some of us, he may remove that protection all the way to death. The second thing, and it's just an interesting issue here, woe to the earth and to the sea. Something is planned and seen here that's going to be happening to the sea that looks like it's from the devil coming down. Now we know about the mountain all ablaze that is being hurled into the sea, which will destroy a third of the fish and a third of the ships. What's Satan have planned here? Because it's specifically here that it's woe to the earth and to the sea. Something's happening with that sea. We don't know what it is, but there's something he's got planned to it. And again, he has the ability to do a lot of things here. The ability is there. It's a question of whether or not he has the authority to do it because of the hedge, which we don't know. Whether the Creator has removed that hedge and how much he's removed that hedge, we don't know.